Sophia stared out the window. Rain lashed against the glass. She was a stranger in a strange land. Just weeks ago, her life had been a cramped city apartment, her days filled with the drudgery of a dead-end job. Then, the news came. Her grandparents, whom she barely knew, had died, leaving her everything. The inheritance was more than money. It was a sprawling farmhouse on the outskirts of Havenwood, a town Sophia had only seen on a faded map. It was a chance to escape the city, to start anew, to belong. Hope bloomed in Sophia's chest, a fragile bud threatened by the storm brewing outside. Havenwood was her fresh start, or so she thought. The moving truck rumbled away, leaving Sophia alone with boxes piled high. The house was old, filled with the ghosts of memories she didn't share. It was beautiful, though, with its wide porch and the rambling garden her grandmother had lovingly tended. As Sophia unpacked, she found a box filled with her grandmother's things. A worn leather-bound journal lay on top, its pages filled with spidery handwriting. Sophia opened it, her fingers tracing the faded ink. It was her grandmother's diary, filled with stories of Havenwood and its people. As she read, Sophia felt a connection to the past, a sense of belonging she had never known. The farmhouse was not just an inheritance, it was a new beginning, a place where she could finally find herself. Havenwood was small, everyone knew everyone, and Sophia, with her city ways and sudden wealth, stuck out like a sore thumb. The whispers started subtly. Curious glances followed her in the grocery store. Conversations hushed when she walked by. Sophia tried to be friendly, to bridge the gap. She baked cookies for her neighbors, volunteered at the local library. But the wall remained. The women were the worst. They saw her as a threat, a temptress who might lure their husbands away with her big city allure. The men, on the other hand, were either overtly flirtatious or dismissive. Sophia had never felt so simultaneously desired and reviled. She was a novelty, an object of gossip and speculation. Loneliness gnawed at her. She longed for a friendly face, a kind word, but Havenwood seemed determined to keep her at arm's length. The dream of belonging began to fade, replaced by a creeping sense of isolation. Yet there were moments of hope. An elderly man she helped with groceries smiled warmly. A shopkeeper engaged her in friendly conversation, and a child's laughter brightened her day. Slowly, very slowly, some began to warm up to her. She was invited to share a meal, included in small gatherings. Sophia's persistence began to pay off. She started to feel a sense of belonging. The whispers on the windswept streets began to change, carrying notes of acceptance and friendship. The first hate note arrived a month after Sophia moved in. It was tucked under her windshield wiper, scrawled in jagged handwriting on cheap notebook paper. "Money can't buy you happiness," it read. "Go back to where you came from." Sophia's hand trembled as she read the words, her stomach clenching with a fear she couldn't name. This was more than just small-town gossip. This was malice, pure and simple. More notes followed, left on her doorstep, tucked into her mailbox, even pinned to the community bulletin board at the library. Each one was a venomous barb, aimed at her insecurities, her loneliness, her very presence in Havenwood. Sophia became afraid to leave the house. She stopped going to the library, stopped volunteering. The fear was a living thing now, a constant companion. She was a prisoner in her own home, trapped by the invisible bars of fear and prejudice. The dream of a fresh start had curdled into a nightmare. Sophia felt utterly alone. The notes became more personal, more vicious. "You don't belong here," one read. "We don't want you," said another. Sophia tore the notes in frustration, but the words lingered. She knew she had to find a way to fight back, to reclaim her life. Sophia decided to write her own letters, messages of hope and resilience. She posted them around town, hoping to drown out the hate with kindness. "You are not alone," one of her notes read. "Together we are strong," said another. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Sophia's messages of hope started to resonate. She received notes of support in return, small gestures that meant the world to her. Sophia realized she wasn't as alone as she had thought. With renewed strength, she stepped out of her house, ready to face the world again. Sophia's courage inspired others, and slowly the community began to change. The hateful notes became fewer, replaced by messages of support and unity. Sophia's small-town saga was far from over, but she had turned the page on a new chapter, one filled with hope and resilience. Caleb Walker was Havenwood's golden boy, the pride of the small town. Strong, silent, with eyes as blue as the summer sky, he was a figure of quiet strength. He was a carpenter, his hands calloused but sure, his work ethic unmatched and admired by all. He was also, to Sophia's surprise, the only one who didn't seem to buy into the town's collective disdain for her. He was a quiet presence, a reassuring nod across the street, a wave from his porch as she watered her grandmother's roses. One afternoon, as Sophia was collecting her mail, hand shaking as she anticipated another hate-filled message, Caleb stopped by unexpectedly. He leaned against his battered pickup truck, his gaze steady and unwavering on her. "Don't let them get to you," he said, his voice low and rough around the edges. "They don't know you like I do," he added with a reassuring smile. Sophia stared at him, her heart pounding in her chest. Did he know about the notes? Had he seen who was leaving them? Before she could ask, he pushed himself off the truck and walked towards her. He took the mail from her trembling hands, his touch surprisingly gentle. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you inside." They walked towards her house, the tension easing with each step they took. Over coffee, Caleb shared stories of his own struggles, his voice a soothing balm to her frayed nerves. They laughed, they bonded, and for the first time in a long while, Sophia felt a glimmer of hope. As Caleb left, he turned back and smiled. "Remember," he said, "you're not alone in this." Sophia watched him go, a newfound strength in her heart. She wasn't alone, not anymore. With Caleb by her side, Sophia embarked on a mission to uncover the source of the hate notes. They worked tirelessly, their bond strengthening with each passing day. It wasn't long before they discovered that a group of disgruntled townspeople, feeling threatened by her presence, were behind the notes. Sophia, with Caleb's unwavering support, decided to confront them. She stood tall, her voice steady yet compassionate. She shared her story, her struggles, and her genuine desire to be a part of Havenwood. Her kindness and determination began to break down the walls of resentment. Slowly but surely, the town began to accept her. The whispers ceased, and the glares softened. The farmhouse, once a symbol of isolation, transformed into a place of warmth and community. Neighbors who once avoided her began to stop by, bringing homemade pies and sharing stories. Sophia had found her home, not just in the farmhouse, but in the hearts of the people of Havenwood. She realized that true belonging wasn't just about being accepted. It was about making a place better by being a part of it. With Caleb by her side, she knew she could face anything. The wind-swept streets of Havenwood were no longer filled with whispers of disdain, but with laughter, friendship, and a sense of unity. Sophia looked out at her garden, now blooming with vibrant flowers, and felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had not only inherited a fortune, but had also found a family. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the town, Sophia knew that she had finally found her place in the world. And it was more beautiful than she had ever imagined. The journey had been tough, but the reward was worth it.